You don't attract what you want, you attract what you believe you deserve. That line hits hard, doesn't it, my friends? Because most people are out there chasing, begging, refreshing their phone every 10 seconds, hoping someone will think of them. But here's the truth. What you chase runs. What you embody comes. Now listen, before we dive deep, do me a favor. Press that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay with me till the end, because what I'm about to show you isn't just a trick to make someone call you. It's a shift that can make the universe itself respond to you differently. Hey folks, imagine this. You're standing by your phone, waiting. Every second feels like an hour. You keep checking your messages, hoping their name pops up. It's like waiting for rain in a desert. You stare at the sky. You pray for clouds. And yet, nothing happens. Why? Because the more you need the rain, the further the clouds drift away. That's the paradox of energy. The universe never responds to desperation. It mirrors certainty. See, when you chase something, you tell the world, I don't have it. But when you believe something is already yours, your energy changes, and that's when things start moving. Stoics understood this long before manifestation became a buzzword. Epictetus once said, "You become what you give your attention to." Think about that. If your attention is glued to what's missing, you stay in lack. But if your attention is rooted in calm faith, everything missing finds its way back to you. Most people think attraction is about doing more calls, more texts, more effort. But the truth? It's about less. It's about silence that speaks louder than begging. It's about letting go of the phone, smiling, and knowing, not hoping, knowing that what's meant for you is already turning toward you. Let's be real. We've all been there. The panic, the overthinking, the constant urge to check if they've seen your story or replied yet. It's funny, right? We act like detectives, zooming into signs that probably don't even mean what we think. But deep down, it's not about them. It's about us trying to control the uncontrollable. The Stoics would call that madness, because control is never out there. It's in here, within. The moment you stop grasping, everything relaxes. It's like trying to catch a butterfly. Chase it and it flies away. Sit quietly and it lands on your shoulder. That's what this video is about. Not chasing, not forcing, but aligning. Now, I'm not saying this is magic, but it might feel like it, because once you understand how energy moves, you'll see that communication isn't just words or phones or apps. It's vibration, it's frequency, it's you. When your energy says, I'm enough, it doesn't whisper, it echoes. And here's the fun part. When you finally let go, when you stop checking your phone like it's a life monitor, that's when it rings. And you'll laugh because it'll feel like the universe waited for that exact second when you stopped needing it. That's how this game works. It's not random, it's response. So today, we're not here to beg for a call. We're here to summon it, not with force, but with focus. With peace, with presence. Because when your mind becomes still, reality listens. Remember, folks, this isn't about them. It's about you reclaiming your calm, your energy, your certainty. Because when you stand in that space of quiet confidence, you stop being an option. You become the signal. So take a breath, smile, and repeat after me. I attract with peace. Write it down in the comments, my friends. Show me you're aligned, show yourself you're ready, and show the universe you're done chasing. Now stay with me, because what's coming next will change how you see connection forever. Number 1, the energy behind the call. The universe doesn't respond to need, it responds to alignment. That one sentence could change everything if they really understood it. because right now they might think they need to do something to make it happen, text them again, post something that catches their eye, or drop a hint that says, "Hey, I'm still here." But the truth, my friends, is that energy speaks louder than any message ever could. The moment they stop chasing and start aligning, everything shifts, not because of what they say, but because of what they radiate. Imagine this: they're standing in front of a mirror fogged with steam after a shower. They keep trying to see clearly, wiping it again and again, but it just fogs up even more. That's what emotional desperation does. The more they try to make something happen, the blurrier it gets. But if they just wait a few seconds, breathe, and let the air clear naturally, the reflection reveals itself, clear, calm, and undeniable. That's how energy works. They can't force clarity, they allow it. Now here's the question that always rattles the mind. If I stop chasing, won't they forget me? No, they won't, because energy doesn't vanish. It lingers. The same way they can feel when someone's thinking about them, others feel it too. But here's the catch. People don't respond to energy that screams, "I need you." They respond to energy that whispers, "I'm good either way," because that energy is power. That's the kind of presence that pulls people in without lifting a finger. Let's go even deeper. Think about the radio analogy. When they're trying to tune into a station, they don't yell at the radio for static. They adjust the frequency, they fine-tune. That's what attraction is. Not demanding, but aligning. The message doesn't get through when they're vibrating on desperation or doubt. The universe doesn't punish them for wanting. It simply matches their signal. That's why the Stoics said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Because most of their suffering isn't coming from what's actually happening, it's coming from what they think might happen if they let go. And that's the real battle, the mind. They fear that silence means loss, that letting go means being forgotten, that detachment means disconnection. But what if it's the opposite? What if silence is what finally makes them miss you? What if letting go is what makes energy move again? Because energy that clings gets stuck, but energy that flows attracts. It's hard, I get it, especially when emotions are loud and logic is quiet. The human brain is wired for connection, so when it feels distance, it panics. It tells stories. They don't care anymore. They're moving on. I've lost them, but those are lies told by fear, not truth spoken by intuition. The truth is, no real connection can vanish just because of silence. If it's meant, it reappears, and when it does, it'll feel effortless, not forced. So how do they shift that energy? It starts with emotional awareness. When they catch themselves waiting, checking, or overthinking, they pause, they breathe, they remind themselves, "I'm the signal, not the seeker." That's the shift from powerless to powerful. Because when they realize their emotions send out frequencies, they stop acting from fear and start operating from calm certainty. Here's a metaphor I love. Imagine they're holding a magnet. If they wave it around too fast, nothing sticks. But when they hold it steady, everything that matches its charge moves closer. That's what their energy's like. When they're frantic, it repels. When they're centered, it attracts. So if they want that call, that message, that reconnection, it's not about chasing after the magnet, it's about becoming the magnet. Let's break one more lie, the lie that doing nothing is the same as giving up. Doing nothing on the outside doesn't mean nothing is happening on the inside. Stillness is not weakness, it's confidence disguised as calm. The Stoics didn't sit quietly because they didn't care, they sat quietly because they trusted the order of things. Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it." meaning when they control their thoughts, they control how life responds. And maybe right now they're thinking, but I've tried this before, it didn't work. That's because they tried from a place of doubt. They waited while checking the clock, not while trusting the timing. Energy can't lie. They can't pretend to be calm while vibrating anxiety underneath. The universe feels that mismatch. This isn't about tricking fate, it's about aligning truth. When they truly believe, they don't have to convince anyone. Things just start to happen. The hardest part, my friends, is patience, because the ego loves results. It wants to see proof now, but the soul knows everything comes when it's meant to, not when it's forced to. So the moment they stop grasping, the universe stops resisting. It's like unclenching a fist. The tighter they hold on, the less they can receive. And if they want to test this, here's the challenge. For the next 24 hours, don't check, don't chase, don't worry. Instead, smile, trust. Carry the energy of "it's already done." Watch how their world reacts. Because sometimes the most magnetic thing a person can do is nothing. So if they're listening right now, I want them to take a deep breath. Let go of the idea that they have to earn someone's attention. They don't. They just have to stand still long enough for the universe to notice what's already theirs. They don't need to be louder, they just need to be aligned. And before we move to the next part, I want them to type this affirmation in the comments. I'm the signal, not the seeker. Say it out loud if they can. Show themselves they've shifted, show the world around them that they've stopped chasing, and show the universe they're ready. Because what's coming next, my friends, will not only change how they attract, it'll change how they exist. Number 2. The Stoic secret. Stillness is magnetic. The more you chase calm, the further it runs, but when you become still, peace finds you on its own. That's the Stoic paradox, my friends, and it applies to everything, even that call or message they've been waiting for. Because let's be honest, they're not just waiting for a ringtone, they're waiting for validation. They want to know they still matter. They want to feel seen again. But here's the hard truth. The moment they make someone else the source of their peace, they hand over their power. Imagine standing beside a pond. The surface is calm, a perfect mirror reflecting the sky. But the second they toss a rock in, ripples scatter everywhere. That's what happens when emotions take over. Every fear, every doubt, every what if becomes another stone thrown into their peace. The reflection disappears. They can't see clearly. The Stoics knew that clarity only exists in stillness. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." And that, right there, is where attraction truly begins. Inside. They might be thinking, how can silence make them call me? But that's the thing. It's not silence that draws them, it's what silence represents. It represents control. It represents peace. It represents a kind of energy that says, I'm not waiting for you to complete me, I'm already whole. That kind of energy doesn't go unnoticed. In fact, it's magnetic, because while everyone else is panicking, posting, overreacting, they're doing the rarest thing, being still. The Stoics didn't talk about energy the way modern spirituality does, but they lived it. They believed emotional control was the highest form of strength. They trained their minds not to react to every impulse, not because they were cold, but because they understood something most people still don't. Power lives in restraint. When they stay calm, they become unpredictable. And when they're unpredictable, they become unforgettable. Here's a metaphor. Picture a candle in a dark room. The more the wind tries to blow it out, the steadier it burns. That's Stoic stillness. That's how energy works when it's mastered instead of scattered. They don't have to run after anyone. They just have to keep their flame steady long enough for others to notice its warmth. Now I know what they're thinking, but what if they never reach out? What if they forget me? Those thoughts are the noise that disturbs their pond, the wind that shakes their candle, their illusions, fears wearing the mask of logic. Because let's be real, they've already been reaching out energetically. They've already planted that seed through their emotions, through their thoughts. But growth doesn't happen when they keep digging up the soil to check if the roots are forming. It happens when they trust the process, quietly, patiently. Stillness doesn't mean they don't care. It means they believe. They believe their worth doesn't depend on someone's text. They believe energy speaks louder than words. They believe the right things unfold without force. That belief, my friends, is magnetic. Because when someone senses that kind of calm confidence, it shakes them. It's the kind of silence that makes them stop scrolling, stop overthinking, and suddenly feel the absence. And in that absence, they remember. It's funny, humans are addicted to noise. The world screams for attention, validation, and drama. But silence stands out. It confuses people. It makes them wonder, why aren't they reacting? Why aren't they chasing? That curiosity pulls them in deeper than any message could, because silence doesn't beg, it commands. Stillness is hard at first. The ego fights it. The mind keeps whispering, do something, say something, fix it. But here's what the Stoics taught. Not reacting is also an action. Choosing calm is choosing strength. Every time they resist the urge to chase, they're building unseen power. And that power radiates. Let me tell them this. Peace isn't passive. It's potent. It's the invisible language that says, I trust the timing, and the universe always listens to trust. Always. So when they choose stillness, they're not waiting. They're aligning. They're sending a message, not through words, but through frequency. Now imagine this. They're walking through a crowded street. Everyone's rushing, shouting, bumping into each other. But there they are, walking slowly, smiling, unbothered. People notice, heads turn. That's what Stoic energy feels like. It doesn't blend in, it stands out. Because stillness in a noisy world is power. So next time their mind screams for action, remind them, stillness is action. The kind of action that moves things behind the scenes. The kind that makes the phone ring when they least expect it. And when that moment comes, when they hear the sound they've been waiting for, they'll realize it wasn't luck. It was an alignment. Take this in, my friends. The calmest energy in the room always wins. Always. Now I want them to write this in the comments. My stillness is my power. Let the world see it. Let the universe hear it. Let their own mind believe it. Because when they own that truth, they stop waiting for miracles. They become one. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to reveal the real secret behind why letting go works faster than chasing. And that one, my friends, might just flip everything they've ever believed about love and energy. Number 3, detach from the outcome to attract the outcome. The tighter you hold, the faster it slips. Detachment isn't loss, it's proof of trust. That one hits, doesn't it, my friends? Because most people think letting go means giving up. They think if they stop caring, it'll all disappear. But the truth is, the moment they release that anxious grip, they give life a chance to breathe again. And that's exactly when things start falling into place, almost like magic. But really, it's just alignment. Imagine they're standing by the ocean, holding a handful of sand. They want to keep it, protect it, feel it, but the harder they squeeze, the more sand slips through their fingers. That's what attachment does. It suffocates the very thing they want to hold. But if they loosen their grip, if they let their hand relax, the sand stays effortlessly. That's the paradox of energy. The more they cling, the more it escapes. Now, here's the funny part. The mind doesn't understand detachment. It screams, if I let go, I'll lose it. But the soul knows. What's meant for them can't be lost. The only thing that gets lost is peace when they try to control what's not theirs to control. Stoicism has been teaching that truth for centuries. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." Translation: control your energy, not the outcome. Because when they do, the outcome naturally aligns with their peace. But why is it so hard to detach? Because attachment is sneaky. It disguises itself as love. It whispers, "I just care too much," but in reality, it's fear in costume, fear of being forgotten, fear of not being enough, fear that the silence means rejection. But let's break that lie right now. Detachment doesn't mean they stop caring. It means they stop suffering. It means they still care, but from a place of strength, not scarcity. Think about it like this. When they plant a seed, they don't dig it up every hour to see if it's growing. They trust that it's happening under the surface. That's detachment. It's quiet faith. It's knowing that just because they can't see results yet doesn't mean nothing's happening. The universe is always moving, always arranging, always listening, but it can't deliver while they're screaming for proof. Silence speaks louder. Here's the tough truth, folks. The energy of obsession repels. It tells the universe, "I don't trust this process." And the universe, like a mirror, reflects that doubt right back. But when they shift to calm certainty, when they say, "It's already done," that's when things start to flow. People feel it too. They can sense when someone's energy is frantic, and they can sense when someone's peaceful. And peace always attracts curiosity, because peace says, "I'm good whether you come back or not." That's power. Imagine a movie scene, two people, tension in the air. One is begging, pleading, over-explaining. The other just smiles softly, says nothing, and walks away. Who do they remember? Always the one who didn't try too hard. Why? Because silence, detachment, and calmness leave space for mystery. And mystery is magnetic. Now I know what they might be thinking. How can I detach when I care so much? The answer is by shifting what they care about. Instead of caring about when it happens, they care about who they are while waiting. Because that's what the universe matches, not their words, but their vibration. When their energy says, "I trust the timing," the universe rushes to prove them right. Stoicism calls it amor fati, the love of fate. It means to love whatever happens, not fight it, to trust that even the waiting, the silence, the distance, yes, even the heartbreak, is all shaping them into the kind of person who no longer chases, but attracts. That's the essence of detachment. It's not indifference, it's divine confidence. Here's something to remember. The universe has perfect timing, but zero urgency. It's never late, just aligned. So if things seem delayed, it's not punishment, it's preparation. Detachment isn't stepping away, it's stepping into faith. It's saying, "I've done my part. Now I let life do its part." Think about the strongest people they know. They're not loud, they're not desperate, and they're not impatient. They move like they already know what's theirs. That's the energy of someone who's detached, not because they don't care, but because they believe. When they reach that point, something shifts. They stop asking, when will they call, and start saying, I know they will if it's meant. And, ironically, that's when the phone finally rings, because when they stop checking for signs, they become the sign. So, my friends, here's what I want them to do. Take a deep breath and let go of the need to control. Let go of timelines. Let go of what-ifs. Trust that if it's meant for them, it's already finding its way. And say this with me, I release to receive. 4 simple words that shift everything. Type it in the comments below to seal it into reality. Show yourself that you're no longer waiting in fear, you're waiting in faith. Because what's coming next will show them exactly why the art of letting go is the most powerful move they'll ever make. Number 4, the visualization shift. The mind is the workshop of reality. What you picture with belief, you invite into being. That's not just a quote, my friends. It's a law that quietly runs the entire universe. Because before anything exists in the physical world, it's first built in the unseen. Every message, every call, every connection that shows up in their life was once just a thought, an image, a quiet spark of energy within their mind. So if they want that specific person to reach out, if they want that call, that text, that moment where everything aligns again, it starts not with the phone in their hand, but with the picture in their head. Imagine they're an artist standing before a blank canvas. Most people stare at it and panic. They see emptiness, possibility, and fear. But the true artist closes their eyes first. They see the painting before it exists. They see the colors, the shadows, the shapes, and then their hands just follow the vision. That's how this works. They don't wait for the universe to paint it for them. They paint it with their imagination, and then the universe simply delivers the frame. Now, here's where people usually mess up. They visualize, but they visualize from lack. They imagine the person not calling, so they keep checking. They imagine being ignored, so they keep feeling rejected. That's not visualization. That's reliving fear on loop. The Stoics warned about this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," meaning whatever picture they hold, their energy becomes it. So, if they want to receive something different, they must see something different first. Here's what I want them to do. Close their eyes for a second, take a deep breath, let the noise fade. Now, in that stillness, see that person, not as a memory, not as a hope, but as if they're right there in this moment. Picture their face clearly. Their eyes, their expression, that familiar way they look when they're about to say something meaningful. Now, in their mind, watch them pick up their phone. See them scroll to their contact. Notice their thumb hovering over their name, your name. And then, without hesitation, they press call, hear it, feel it. Experience it as if it's happening right now. Visualization isn't pretending, it's practicing reality before it happens. The universe doesn't care if what they imagine is memory or manifestation, it just responds to the vibration of belief. So the more vividly they see it, the stronger the signal becomes. But let's break one big lie right here. They're not trying to make someone do anything, they're aligning energy, not forcing will. That's the difference between obsession and attraction. When they visualize with anxiety, they send confusion. But when they visualize with peace, they send clarity. It's not about control, it's about coherence. Picture energy like an echo. When they shout with fear, the echo comes back distorted, but when they speak softly with certainty, the echo returns perfectly clear. That's what visualization does. It shapes the echo they send into the world. Now, here's the part that most people skip: emotion. Visualization without emotion is just daydreaming. But when they feel what they're seeing, when their heart starts to race a little as they imagine that call, when they smile because it already feels real, that's when the energy gets real power. Their subconscious can't tell the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's actually happening. So the more they feel it, the faster their reality adjusts to match it. They might say, "But I've tried visualizing before and nothing happened." That's because they were visualizing wanting, not having. They saw the distance, not the connection. The key is to shift from hope to certainty, from "I want it to happen" to "it already happened." Because the mind can't attract what it believes is missing. It can only expand what it believes it already has. Let's add a little fun here. Imagine them checking their phone after this video, and there it is, their name on the screen, their message, that small shock of excitement, that rush in their chest, that laugh that slips out because it feels unreal. That's the moment they're calling into existence, and when it happens, they'll remember this very feeling. Stoicism teaches presence, to act without attachment, to live as if each moment is complete. Visualization is simply Stoic presence projected forward. It's saying, "I already have what I once waited for." And when they move through the day with that kind of calm assurance, everything around them begins to match that vibration. So here's what I want them to remember, my friends. They don't chase, they channel, they don't beg, they believe, they don't wait, they become. Because the energy of "I already have it" is irresistible, not just to people, but to life itself. Before we move on, I want them to write this affirmation in the comments right now. I see it, I feel it, I receive it. Those words are not just a sentence, they're a command to the universe. They're a signal that says, "I'm ready." So breathe, relax, and hold that vision gently, not like something fragile, but like something real, because what's coming next will show them how to breathe that same calm confidence into reality. And when they do, they won't just attract a call, they'll attract alignment. Number 5, the breath of certainty. When the breath is calm, the mind is clear. And when the mind is clear, the world starts to obey your rhythm. That's the power they've been missing, my friends. Breath. Something so simple, yet so overlooked. Because when life feels chaotic, when emotions are loud, when thoughts are racing, the first thing to go is their breath. It becomes shallow, tight, anxious. And whether they realize it or not, their energy follows that rhythm. The universe doesn't respond to words, it responds to vibration. And their vibration follows their breath. So if they want to align their energy, if they want to become magnetic, if they want that call or message to find them effortlessly, it doesn't start with a phone, a trick, or a technique. It starts with one conscious inhale. Imagine standing in front of a storm, wind howling, debris flying, chaos everywhere. Now picture the eye of that storm, perfectly still, perfectly calm. That's what the breath does. It brings them into the eye. It centers them in silence, even while the world around them spins. The Stoics called this inner control euthymia, a state of tranquility within turmoil. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The breath is the gateway to that power. Let's try this together, my friends. Inhale slowly through the nose, hold it for a moment, and then exhale gently through the mouth. Don't rush it. Feel how the body relaxes, the shoulders drop, the chest opens. That single breath isn't just oxygen, it's alignment. It's a signal to the universe that they are no longer chasing, no longer panicking, no longer trying to control the uncontrollable. They're simply being. Most people underestimate how powerful calm energy is. They think movement equals progress. They think they have to do something, say something, prove something, but energy doesn't respond to effort. It responds to equilibrium. The breath is how they find it, because when their breathing is steady, their thoughts slow down. When thoughts slow down, emotions settle. And when emotions settle, they become magnetic. It's like a lake after the wind stops blowing. The ripples fade, the reflection returns. That's what happens when they breathe with intention. The chaos in their mind clears, and suddenly what they desire can finally see its way to them. Because clarity isn't found in noise, it's found in rhythm. Now, I know what some of them are thinking. How can something as simple as breathing change my situation? But let me ask them this. How do they feel when they're nervous? The breath quickens, the heart races, the body tenses. Now, how do they feel when they're confident? The breath slows, the voice steadies, the eyes soften. That's proof right there. The state of their breath creates the state of their being, and the state of their being determines what they attract. They've heard people say, just be confident, but nobody teaches them how. Confidence isn't pretending to be strong, it's breathing as if everything's already okay. Because when they breathe deeply, they're sending a message to the body. I'm safe. And when their body feels safe, their energy expands. People feel that. The universe feels that. That's when things start to move. The breath of certainty is not about inhaling air, it's about inhaling belief. It's about exhaling doubt. Every deep breath they take rewrites their story from panic to power, and if they stay consistent, it becomes their default state. They stop reacting to life and start directing it. That's Stoicism in its most practical form, not hiding emotions, but mastering their rhythm. So here's a little exercise I want them to try later. Every time they catch themselves overthinking, waiting, or checking their phone, stop. Put a hand over their chest. Inhale slowly through the nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Do it 3 times. Feel how the energy shifts. The craving fades. The noise quiets. The power returns. They'll start to notice something. When they breathe calmly, people respond differently. Conversations feel smoother. Situations resolve faster. Even that person they've been thinking about will feel the pull, not because of manipulation, but because their frequency changed. Calm energy travels farther than chaotic energy ever could. The Stoics said, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." Breath is the sword and the shield in that battle, because no one can shake someone who knows how to stay calm in uncertainty. So the next time they feel anxious about that message or call, don't check the screen, check the breath. Because when they control that, everything else starts falling into place naturally. Let's anchor this truth together. Type this in the comments. With every breath, I attract peace. Say it with conviction. Write it like they mean it, because that's the energy that rewires their world. And stay with me, my friends, because in the next part, I'll show them the exact moment they need to release it all. That sacred point where letting go doesn't mean losing control. It means gaining it. Number 6. Release it, the law of the order. The moment you stop asking when it's coming is the moment it starts to move toward you. That line alone carries the entire secret, my friends, because most people don't realize this. What delays their blessing isn't fate, it's force. They set an intention, but then they strangle it with worry. They say they trust, but they check every 5 minutes for proof. They speak faith with their lips, but their energy whispers doubt. And the universe, it listens to energy, not words. So here's the truth that will free them. Once they've set their intention, once they've visualized, breathed, aligned, they must let it go. That's the hardest and most powerful part of all. Because letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means stepping aside so the universe can finally do its job. Imagine they've placed an online order. They typed it in, selected what they wanted, and pressed confirm. Now, do they keep refreshing the page every 5 seconds? Do they email customer service every hour asking, "Is it on its way?" Of course not. They trust that it's coming. They go about their day. They let the system work. The order is already processing. It just hasn't arrived yet. The universe works the same way. When they set a clear intention, it's already being shipped to their reality. Constant checking only slows the delivery. Let's get honest. The reason they can't let go is fear. The mind doesn't like uncertainty. It wants control. It wants timelines, signs, and guarantees. But that need for control is exactly what blocks flow. Energy doesn't move under tension. It moves through trust. Stoic philosophy says it perfectly. Accept what is given and let go of what you cannot command. Because once they release the illusion of control, they enter a state of alignment where everything begins to rearrange effortlessly. Think of a river. It doesn't chase the rocks in its path. It flows around them. The water never argues with gravity. It surrenders to it. Yet that surrender doesn't make it weak. It makes it unstoppable. That's what they must become. A flowing current, not a crashing wave. Every time they relax, their energy clears the blockages that worry built. Now picture this. They've just finished visualizing. Their heart feels light. Their energy is centered. This is the exact moment to release. To say quietly, "It's done." Not as a wish, but as a knowing. Then they walk away. They smile. They turn their attention to life, because true trust looks like peace. It looks like someone who doesn't need to prove their faith by constantly seeking signs. They become the sign. And here's where the magic happens. When they truly let go, their energy becomes clean. No desperation, no static, no noise. That's when the universe rushes in to fill the space they created. That's when the phone rings. That's when the text appears. And it always happens when they least expect it. Because expectation isn't about waiting, it's about believing. It's funny, isn't it? The universe has perfect timing, but we tend to think we know better. We demand instant results, forgetting that divine timing isn't slow, it's precise. Sometimes delays aren't punishment, they're protection. Sometimes the call doesn't come right away because it's being prepared in a way that's better than they planned. When they finally stop chasing outcomes, they begin to receive alignment. Still, letting go feels unnatural at first. The ego will whisper, "You're losing control." But in reality, that's when they gain it. Because control isn't about forcing outcomes, it's about mastering emotion. Stoicism calls that the art of serenity, calm in the chaos, faith in the unseen. When they live from that place, people feel it. Energy that's peaceful is magnetic. Energy that's needy is repelling. The difference? One trusts, the other doubts. So here's the challenge. After this video ends, I want them to try it. Whatever they've been holding on to, release it. Stop checking, stop hoping, stop waiting. Smile and whisper to themselves, "It's already done." Then go for a walk, laugh, listen to music, live. Because life is the ultimate signal that says, "I'm already whole." The moment they act like they're no longer waiting, everything waiting for them begins to arrive. Remember, my friends, even in silence, the universe is working. Just because they can't see progress doesn't mean nothing's happening. Just like a seed underground, growth happens where eyes can't see. They don't need to dig it up to prove it's growing, they just need to keep believing. So breathe deeply, exhale the fear, let go of the urge to control, because the truth is, everything they've asked for is already on its way. They just have to make space for it to land. Now, before we close this journey, I want them to anchor this truth in their energy. Type this affirmation in the comments. I release it with faith. Say it out loud. Believe it. Live it. Show yourself that you've shifted. Show the world that you've let go. Show the universe that you're ready. And if this message resonated with them, if it helped them breathe a little deeper, think a little clearer, or feel a little lighter, then take a second right now. Press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because the energy we send out multiplies. Trust me, my friends, when you master the art of release, the universe doesn't just respond, it rushes to meet you halfway. Your order's already confirmed. All that's left to do now is to live like it's delivered.